In the heart of the Swedish Royal Library, behind thick glass and under the watchful eye of silent security cameras, lies a book so strange, so unnerving, that even scholars speak of it in hushed tones. It is not just its size, nearly a meter tall, weighing over 75 kilos, that commands awe. It is what lies within. Its name is Codex Gigas, but the world knows it as the Devil's Bible. Few books have a past that can rival this one. No one knows exactly when it was first discovered because the truth is, it was never lost. It simply existed, hidden in plain sight in Bohemia, the beating heart of medieval Europe, in a Benedictine monastery surrounded by dense forest and shadowed by superstition. The year is believed to be around 1229. The legend, however, begins in darkness. According to ancient accounts whispered through generations, a monk of the order committed an unspeakable sin, one so terrible that the details have been lost to time. Some say he broke his vows. Others say he practiced forbidden arts. Whatever the crime, his punishment was death by immurement, to be sealed alive within the monastery's stone walls, to starve and rot in silence. But the monk, whose name has faded from history, known only in fragments as Herman the Recluse, pleaded for mercy. He begged the abbot and his fellow brothers for a chance to atone. He promised that in a single night he would write a book that contained all human knowledge: the Bible, the laws of the land, medicine, magic, history, everything that could guide mankind toward light. It was impossible. But perhaps that was the point. They agreed. The monk was locked away with ink, parchment, quills, and a candle. No food, no water, just time, and a deadline that should have ended in death. The next morning, the doors creaked open. The monk was alive, and in front of him was the Codex Gigas, page after page, written in flawless Latin, every word precise, every letter identical in style, as if written by a hand that never trembled, never tired. But it was not the text that stole the monk's breath. It was the image, a full-page illustration of the devil himself. Not abstract, not symbolic, but raw, monstrous, horned, clawed, with blood-red eyes and a greedy mouth twisted in a grin that seemed to move if you stared too long. The creature sat alone on the parchment framed between towers, as if imprisoned, or waiting to be freed. The monks were terrified. Some said the book was cursed. Others claimed it radiated a strange energy, a silent hum that gnawed at the edges of the mind. But the codex was real, tangible, beautiful even. So they kept it. Centuries passed, and the book was passed from hand to hand, from monks to kings, from scholars to emperors, until it found its way into the Royal Library of Prague, where it lay for years under lock and key. Until war came. In 1648, as the 30 Years' War neared its end, Swedish forces stormed Prague and looted its treasures. Among the spoils was the Codex Gigas. It was taken as a prize, a war trophy for the Protestant North. The Devil's Bible traveled hundreds of miles, heavy with secrets, until it arrived in Stockholm. But something else arrived with it. The librarian tasked with cataloging the book grew increasingly erratic. He claimed the text changed when he wasn't looking, that he heard scratching sounds coming from the pages at night, that the devil's image blinked. They said he had gone mad. Then came the fire. In 1697, the royal castle burned. Books and scrolls turned to ash in the flames. But not the codex. A man risked his life to save it, dragging the monstrous tome out of the blaze. He suffered broken legs under its weight, but the book remained unharmed. Not even the edges were singed. Some whispered that it didn't want to burn. Today, the Codex Gigas rests in a sealed case. Scholars have studied it. Historians have analyzed it. Linguists, theologians, and even cryptographers have tried to understand its secrets. The entire manuscript, 310 pages of dense script, is written by a single hand. Experts estimate that it would take 25 years of constant writing to finish. And yet the handwriting never changes. Not once. As if time stood still for its creator. Or as if something else held the pen. The book includes more than scripture. It contains medical texts with recipes for treating diseases, some of which were unknown in 13th century Europe. It includes spells and exorcisms written in formulas lost to time, and hidden in its margins are notes, symbols, cryptic marks, sometimes only visible under ultraviolet light. Most disturbing of all are the missing pages. At some point in its history, entire leaves were torn from the book, cleanly, purposefully. No one knows what was on them. Some say they contained dangerous knowledge, rituals meant to summon the devil himself. Others believe they listed names, those who read the book and paid the price. But there's something more. Some researchers have begun to suspect that the book is not just a document, but a device. Its composition, the structure of its content, even the placement of the devil's image at the center, mathematically aligned with precise numerological values, suggests intentional design, like an equation, a lock, or a trap. One fringe historian published a theory that the Codex Gigas was designed to contain something, that the reason it had to be so massive, so dense, was to weigh down and seal whatever was bound inside, not metaphorically, literally. In 2007, the book was digitized. It was meant to bring knowledge to the world. Instead, it brought something else. Users reported strange experiences after browsing the online version of the Codex. Screens flickered, devices crashed. One archivist claimed that after zooming in on the devil's eyes for more than 2 minutes, her entire browser froze, and the sound of whispering filled her headphones, despite no audio being played. The most disturbing incident came from a user in Hungary who downloaded high-resolution scans of the pages to study the calligraphy. A week later, he sent an email to the digital archive staff, simply reading, "It's not just a book, it's a door." He hasn't been heard from since. Today, the Codex Gigas remains a subject of fascination and fear. Historians continue to debate its origin. The Church refuses to comment on its deeper symbolism. Occult circles whisper about rituals connected to its content. And beneath it all, the legend persists. That a desperate man, facing death, sold his soul and gained immortality, not in flesh, but in ink. They say if you visit the Royal Library of Sweden and you're very quiet, you can hear something. Not the shuffle of tourists, not the rustle of ancient parchment, breathing like something vast and waiting. Because the devil isn't in the details, he's in the pages.